Hey YouTube, this is Black Veins of Pain here, coming to you guys with another episode of Way of the Dragon. And this episode will be on a breakdown on how Hieratic Disaster works. And what I believe the staple cards are for the deck. The deck pretty much works by using Tefnuit or a set as the initial cards to stop your combos. Tefnuit being a special summonable play, a set being a normal summonable play. And then you use, like, generally speaking, use a Sue. And you tribute one of these to special summon Sue. And then after they're tributed, you get their effect to special summon a normal type dragon monster. You would probably summon level 6 one, preferably Wattail or Lesser Dragon. So yeah, I'll just use Wattail. And then you would use the XC summon for a range 6, which would be a Tomb. So I'll just give you guys a quick example. So my opponent, I'm in 1 second, and I supposed to summon Tefnuit. I tribute Tefnuit for supposed to summon a Sue. Tefnuit's effect will activate. I supposed to summon a normal dragon type monster. I'll start with Wattail. If I have a Hieratic in my hand and my opponent has back row, I'll just use Sue's effect to tribute in a set or something in my hand. Pop their back row. Then a set effect activates, allowing me to summon Lesser Dragon number 2 for my deck or hand or graveyard. And from there, you just XYZ for XC summon a Tomb, and then detach use the Tomb's effect, which will search out any dragon from your deck that's special summonable, and special summon it to your side of the field. So that's pretty much how the deck will work. Like detach, if you want to just detach, go for Darkness Smell. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the engine of the deck and how it works. Also using Hieratic, and also you use range 6s like common range 6s like Photon Strike Bouncer. Sorry, let me just flip these over so you guys can see them better. I didn't notice, my bad. Alright, so cards like Photon Strike Bouncer and Force Focus and plenty of other range 6s are also available to be used. Because of the Hieratic engine. So yeah, that's pretty much just how the deck works in terms of its engine. And as for staple cards, the staple cards for this deck, in my opinion, would be as followed. Darkness Smell is a staple for any dragon deck, regardless of if it's Chaos Dragon, Pure Hieratics, a Variant Disaster Dragon, whatever. Any dragon deck, this card is a must. Yeah. Then there's also the Hieratic engine, which will be triple Tefnuit, which I already said is your special summonable initial play. Triple Sue, my bad. Triple Sue, which is just the continuation of the plays. A set. These are pretty much your standard Hieratics and well, just standard dragon in general for the deck. And you also play 2 level 6s. I play 1 Wattail, 1 Luster. If you want, you can play 2 Wattails, you can play 2 Lusters, you can play a Wattail Luster, whatever suits you. You just need to have 2 level 6 normal type dragon monsters, and you're good. I would also say running 2 Kawaki, at least 2 Kawaki is a staple, in my opinion at least. I have seen people run 1 and some people run 3. It just pretty much is all opinion based, but I believe 2 Kawaki is staple for the deck. And run at least 1 Delta Flyer, which is why I see most people run Hieratic Disaster. You could run 2 if you want. I just like running 1. So I believe 1 is standard in the deck. Yeah, so that's pretty much the standard monsters. As for standard spells, Double Seal and Double Duality, I believe, are standard spells just for consistency boosting and getting cards to your hand quicker. At least 2 MST should be used because you don't, a third is nice to have, but because you have 3 Sues, you pretty much have MSTs built in, so that's why I say at least 2 is a mandatory. So then just the trio, which is staple in almost every single deck used. Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn. So yeah. That was about 26 cards, I believe, that I said were staple. Which means that the other 14 can be used any way you want. You can tag in cards like Galaxy Edge Photon Dragon, which works well off the deck as well. If you've seen some of my earlier videos, I have made one. I think I made one exclusively on Galaxy Eyes, and I also have a few deck profiles that use Galaxy Eyes. He works with the Hieratic engine because even though he comes out 0 attack, 0 defense, as well as someone by a tune, you can banish him onto your opponent controls and this card. Okay, so you both leave the field. Your opponent's wide open for OTK or just inflicting massive damage. Then this card will come back as at least a 3K beat stick, and if you banished an XYZ monster, it gains 500 for each XYZ material on it. You can even tech cards like the Horus cards, which is what I currently tech, because I like the cards a lot, for spell negation and stuff. There's also DDA, which I run just because I like the fact that I can recycle dragons. But yeah. And then there's even Hanzos. And Hanzos just add consistency, allow you to get your dragons out quicker too. So yeah, pretty much besides the 26 cards I mentioned, it all depends on your playstyle and you know, how you like to play things, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty much what are some examples of text and how a deck runs. Now, real quick, I'm going to tell you guys the ups and downs of this deck compared to other Disaster Dragon variants. The upside to this deck is the fact that it's one of the fastest variants we currently have. TCG-wise, at the moment, I believe it is the fastest variant of Disaster Dragons we got. Because of the Attune engine, we now have access from the deck and the graveyard. Because of Darkness Meld is graveyard in hand, and the Hieratic engine allows me to get from the deck. So dragons are pretty much accessible from anywhere. So that's a plus. It also packs more power cards than other variants, quite a few other variants of the deck. And yeah, so those are some pros. Some cons to the deck would be sometimes you can draw dead. I mean, any deck can draw dead, but for this deck, if you draw dead, you're resorted to top decking. Sometimes. But I use Hanzos and other normal summonable cards to correct that, so it's not that bad for me. Another con to the deck is if your opponent manages to Dark Hole or Torrential your plays, then you are pretty much in a bad position because you just lost a lot of field advantage, and Heretics make you lose hand advantage too. The last con is, it's not really a con since a lot of decks have this problem, so I guess what you should be careful for is if your initial summon is stopped, then pretty much your plays end stop right there and you can't do much. Unless you like did Tefnuit, they warning it, you have it in a set or something. Alright, you're good, but generally speaking, if they stop your first summon and you can't summon anything else, you're stumped. Because you have like Sues in your hands that you can't get out. So yeah. Pros and cons. I believe this deck is very good. It's definitely not a deck that you can just, you know, grab and play and expect to do extremely well with. You have to have some forethought into this. you have to like think out your plays. It's not. I'm not just saying normal heretics. You just grab, play, and you just grab. You can play instantly. But what I'm saying is like it's not like heretics where the main goal is just to OTK your opponent. This deck can OTK, but unlike pure heretics, it has more of a control based style. So you want to think about that as you build your deck. And yeah, it's hard for me to explain. I'm sorry, but so this is it for my video. Please remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you like me doing this series at all. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next time.